quiet as I stepped inside, exhausted after another long day at the office. The keys jingled in my hand as I dropped them on the kitchen counter, thinking only of a beer and some couch time. I hadn't expected the feeling of unease that hit me the moment I walked through the door. Everything seemed normal at first. The smell of Camilla's perfume still lingered in the air, and the sound of her favorite radio station softly hummed in the background. But something was off. Camilla wasn't home yet. She usually left her phone charging on the kitchen table, and today was no different, except the screen was still on, casting a faint blue glow across the counter. I wouldn't have noticed if it wasn't for the unmistakable vibration signaling a new message. In the pit of my stomach, a strange feeling settled curiosity mixed with something darker. I shouldn't look. I knew better. But the message was there, beckoning, almost mocking me. Against my better judgment, I took a few steps closer, my eyes locking onto the illuminated screen. A single text. Last night was incredible. I can still smell you on me. My chest tight and my mouth going dry as I stood frozen in place. My eyes skimmed over the message again, reading it once, twice, trying to make sense of it. There was no name, just a number I didn't recognize, but I didn't need to see more. I knew this was real. This wasn't some misunderstanding, a joke, or a casual flirty text between friends. This was betrayal, raw and undeniable, staring me in the face like a slap I never saw coming. I staggered back, the world around me spinning. My mind raced, replaying every memory, every intimate moment Camilla and I had shared, only for it to be shattered by a few words on a screen. The words seared into my brain as if they were branded there. My hand shook as I picked up the phone, unlocking it with ease after years together. There was no need for secrets between us, or so I thought. I scrolled through the messages, each one digging the knife deeper. There were plans, details of secret meetups, places they had gone where I thought she was working late, places where I was just another fool, blissfully unaware of the web of lies being spun right under my nose. She had been seeing him, this stranger, for weeks, maybe months. I couldn't bring myself to count the dates. I had always trusted Camilla. I never questioned where she went, who she saw. It wasn't in my nature to doubt her. But now that trust was gone, replaced with a growing rage I didn't know I was capable of feeling. Without thinking, I typed a message, cold, sharp, final, I want a divorce. Immediately, I hit send, my thumb pressing harder than necessary, as if the force could transmit my fury through the screen. I slammed the phone back onto the table, its sound reverberating through the empty house like a gunshot. There was no going back now. She'd see it soon enough when she checked her messages at work. Probably still blowing from her last rendezvous. The betrayal twisted inside me like a knife. This wasn't something we could talk through. There would be no apologies, no confessions that could make this right. She had already made her choice. I went upstairs and grabbed the nearest suitcase, stuffing clothes into it as fast as I could. I couldn't stay here not another minute. The thought of sleeping in the same bed where she had betrayed me made my skin crawl. I packed what I needed, slamming drawers shut, throwing things haphazardly into the bag. I paused at the door to our bedroom, the bed still neatly made from this morning, the pillows undisturbed. Everything looked so normal, so innocent. It was a lie. All of it. This house, this life, the promises we had made to each other, it had all been a lie. With one final glance, I left. The door slammed behind me as I walked out, leaving behind not just the house, but the life I thought I knew. There would be no reconciliation, no second chances. The message was sent, the decision made. For Camilla, everything would change the moment she checked her phone. The wheels of my car screeched as I pulled into the first empty parking lot I could find. I hadn't even realized how fast I was driving until I saw the skid marks on the pavement. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly that my knuckles had turned white. I needed to calm down, but there was no escaping the boiling rage inside of me. I couldn't shake the image of that text from my mind, the way it mocked me. Her phone would still be lighting up with messages from him, from that faceless bastard whose hands had been all over her. How long had they been meeting? How many times had she smiled at me, kissed me goodbye, and then run straight into his arms? I punched the dashboard, the pain shooting up my arm, but it wasn't enough to drown out the flood of thoughts. She was at work right now, sitting at her desk, pretending like everything was fine, pretending like she wasn't destroying everything we had built. I imagined her looking at her phone, seeing my message, and her world crumbling in an instant. But would it? Camilla had fooled me for so long, lied so effortlessly, maybe she'd find a way to smooth this over too. A fake apology, some crocodile tears, she would beg me to listen, to understand, to give her another chance. I could already hear the rehearsed lines, the empty words meant to make me forgive her. But this time was different. There was nothing left to say. I had already said it all in that single message. I want a divorce. Immediately, And I took a deep breath, leaned back in the driver's seat, and closed my eyes. I could still picture the way she looked the last time we were together. So beautiful, so normal. It was the night before last. She had been distant, but I hadn't thought much of it. We had sat on the couch watching TV, her head resting on my shoulder. She'd laughed at something on the screen. That sweet laugh I used to love. Now it made me sick to my stomach. The sound of my phone buzzing pulled me back to reality. I grabbed it, expecting to see a reply from her, some desperate attempt to explain. But it wasn't her. It was my best friend, Rob. "Hey, man, you want to grab a beer?" Long day, the message read, casual and unassuming, like it was any other day. But today wasn't like any other day. Not for me. I didn't know how to respond. Could I pretend that nothing had changed? Could I just go out, have a drink, and act like my entire world hadn't come crashing down? No, I needed to tell someone. I couldn't carry this alone anymore. I typed back, "Can't. Camilla's been cheating on me. I'm leaving her." I hit send before I could second guess it. The words felt raw, like exposing a wound to the air. Within seconds, Rob's name popped up on my screen. He was calling. Of course he was. "Max, what the hell, man?" His voice boomed through the phone. I could barely form the words. My throat was tight and the anger still churned in my gut. "I found out she's been seeing someone. I saw a message. It's all there in black and white." Rob was silent for a moment, like he didn't know what to say. Then he cursed under his breath. "I'm coming to you. Where are you?" I told him the name of the parking lot I had stopped in, and within minutes, his car pulled up beside mine. He got out looking like he was ready to murder someone. His jaw was clenched, his fist tight at his sides. "Talk to me, man," he said. Leaning against my car, his voice softer now. "What exactly happened?" When I told him everything, the text message, the countless lies, the night she claimed to be working late, all of it, the words poured out of me, each one filled with bitterness. Rob listened nodding, but I could see the fury in his eyes growing with each word. "That's messed up, Max," he said, shaking his head. "I can't believe she did this to you. You've been nothing but good to her." I laughed bitterly. "Yeah, well, apparently that didn't matter. So what are you going to do?" I looked out at the street, watching as cars drove by, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. "I already told her I want a divorce. I sent her a message." "She's probably read it by now." Rob nodded approvingly. "Good. She doesn't deserve another chance. After what she did, man, no way. You can't forgive that." "I'm not going to." I spat the words out like poison. "I've already packed my stuff. I'm done." He clapped a hand on my shoulder. "You did the right thing, Max. You don't need her. We'll get through this, all right?" I nodded, though I didn't really feel comforted. There was no getting through this. Not really. Everything I thought I knew about my life was a lie, and it would take more than a pat on the back to fix that. My phone buzzed again. This time it was her. "Max, what are you talking about? Where are you? We need to talk." "Please don't do this." "I can explain." I shoved the phone back in my pocket without replying. There was nothing she could say that would change anything. She could explain all she wanted, but I didn't care. The moment she let another man touch her, it was over. Rob saw the look on my face and gave me a knowing nod. "She texted you, didn't she?" "Yeah," I said, my voice tight. "She wants to talk." "She wants to lie, you mean?" Rob corrected, his eyes dark with anger. "Don't fall for it, man. You've made your decision. Stick to it." I didn't need to be told twice. My mind was made up. I wasn't going to let her weasel her way out of this one. No apologies, no tears could undo the damage she had done. With one last look at Rob, I nodded. "I'm sticking to it." He smiled grimly. "Good. Now let's get you out of here. You don't need to be sitting in a parking lot thinking about this all night. Let's go grab that beer." I hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Maybe a drink was exactly what I needed right now, something to dull the edges of the pain and anger. As we drove away, my phone buzzed again and again in my pocket, each vibration a reminder of the life I was leaving behind. But I didn't look. I wouldn't give her the satisfaction. Camilla had made her bed. Now she could lie in it alone. The bar was dimly lit, the kind of place where the shadows blurred and the clinking of glasses drowned out conversations. Rob ordered 2 beers and slid one across the table to me. I took a long sip, the cold bitterness coating my throat, but it did little to extinguish the fire burning inside. It felt surreal sitting there, talking to my best friend while my entire life was falling apart. "So, what's next?" Rob asked, leaning back in his chair, his eyes scanning my face. He wasn't pushing, just letting me talk when I was ready. I took another swig of my beer, trying to find the words. "I don't know," I said finally. "I left the house. I'm not going back. Not tonight. Maybe not ever." Rob raised an eyebrow. "You seriously think it's done? No chance of working things out?" I shook my head, the words coming out harder than I expected. There's nothing to work out. She betrayed me, Rob. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't something we can fix with therapy or some bullshit couples retreat. She chose this. She chose him. He nodded slowly, absorbing my words. Yeah, I get it. Still, it's hard to process, right? 1 minute everything seems fine, and then bam, you get blindsided. I chuckled darkly. Blindsided. Yeah, that's one way to put it. I stared down at my beer, the foam clinging to the edges of the glass. I keep asking myself if I should seen it coming, if there were signs. But I don't know, man. Maybe I was just too trusting, too blind. Rob leaned forward, his voice low. Don't blame yourself for this, Max. She's the one who did this. Not you? I nodded, though the guilt still gnawed at me. How had I missed the warning signs? The late nights, the unexplained absences, the sudden distance between us, it all seemed so obvious now in hindsight. But at the time I had brushed it off. I trusted her. That was my biggest mistake. We sat in silence for a while, the bar's noise filling the space between us. My mind wandered, images of Camilla flashing through my head, her smile, her laugh, the way she used to look at me like I was the only man in the world. Now those memories were tainted, corrupted by the knowledge that she had been giving herself to someone else. Suddenly my phone buzzed again, vibrating in my pocket like a wasp trying to sting me. I didn't want to look. I didn't want to see her name on the screen. But my hand moved on its own, pulling the phone out and unlocking it. It was another message from her. Max, please don't leave me like this. I need to explain. I was stupid, and I made a mistake, but it doesn't have to end this way. Please come home. We can talk. I love you. The words made me want to throw the phone across the room. I love you. How could she say that after everything? Did she think that love would magically erase the betrayal, the lies? I shoved the phone back into my pocket and downed the rest of my beer in one go, the bitterness matching the taste in my mouth. Rob watched me carefully but didn't say anything. He didn't need to. I can't go back, I muttered, more to myself than to him. If I see her, if I hear her voice, I don't know what I'll do. Rob nodded in understanding. Don't. You've already told her it's over. Stick to your guns, man. Don't give her the satisfaction of thinking she can talk her way out of this. I won't, I said, though my voice wavered slightly. But damn it, Rob, part of me wants to hear her out, just to see if she'll be honest for once. If she'll admit what she did. He shook his head firmly. She's not going to be honest, Max. You already know what she's going to say. She'll spin it, make excuses, maybe even try to blame you. But that doesn't change the fact that she's been lying to you. And you deserve better than that. I knew he was right. Deep down, I knew it. But it didn't make the pain any easier to bear. My life with Camilla, everything we had built, felt like it had been set on fire. And now all that was left was the ashes. My phone buzzed again, and this time I ignored it. I wasn't going to play her game. Not anymore. I needed to start thinking about what came next, where I was going to stay, how I was going to move on. But the thought of moving on without her felt like an impossible task. Do you think you'll divorce her? Rob asked quietly, breaking the silence. I sighed, running a hand through my hair. I don't know. I said I wanted a divorce. And I meant it, but I didn't think I'd be in this position. I never imagined this would be my life. Rob nodded, taking a sip of his beer. No one ever does, man, but you'll get through this. I've known you for years, Max. You're strong. You'll come out of this on top. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that I was strong enough to move on, to rebuild my life without her. But right now, all I could feel was the weight of the betrayal, pressing down on my chest like a vice. The bar began to empty as the night wore on, and the conversation drifted into lighter topics, work, sports, anything to distract from the dark cloud hanging over me. But no matter how much we talked, the reality was still there, lurking just beneath the surface. Eventually, Rob glanced at his watch and sighed. I should probably get going. You going to be okay? I nodded, though I wasn't sure if I believed it myself. Yeah, I'll be fine. He gave me a long look, like he didn't quite buy it, but didn't push. If you need anything, you know where to find me. Thanks, man, I said, giving him a weak smile. We stood up and Rob clapped me on the back before heading out. I watched him leave, feeling a strange sense of loneliness wash over me. The bar was nearly empty now, and I sat back down, nursing the last few sips of my beer. My phone buzzed again, and despite myself, I pulled it out. Another message from Camilla. I'm sorry, please, Max. Come home, let's talk. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. I stared at the words, my heart pounding in my chest. For a brief moment, I considered it. I considered going back, hearing her out, giving her the chance to explain. Maybe she was right. Maybe this didn't have to be the end. Maybe we could fix it. But then I remembered the text message from her lover. I remembered the lies, the betrayal, and the way she had shattered my trust without a second thought. No, there was nothing left to say. I deleted the message and slipped my phone back into my pocket. Then I stood up, leaving the bar behind me as I stepped out into the cold night air. There was no going back. Not now. Not ever. The air outside was biting, and it hit me like a slap as I left the bar. The cold wrapped around me, but it didn't do much to clear the haze in my head. So the streets were mostly empty, the occasional car passing by as I walked without any clear direction. My mind was still tangled in thoughts of Camilla, the memories of our life together looping in my brain like a cruel film reel. I couldn't shake the feeling of disbelief, the sense that this wasn't real, that somehow I'd wake up and everything would be normal again. But I knew better. There was no waking up from this nightmare. The betrayal was real, and no amount of wishing would change that. I checked the time on my phone. It was close to midnight, and I had no idea where I was going to sleep. My bags were still in the car, but I couldn't bring myself to go back to the house. The idea of being under the same roof where she had cheated, where she had lied to my face, was unbearable. I stopped at a bench on the side of the road, sitting down and putting my head in my hands. The exhaustion hit me all at once, like a wave crashing over me. I had spent the whole night running on adrenaline, anger fueling every decision. But now, as I sat in the quiet of the night, the weight of it all started to settle on my shoulders. What now? Well, I pulled out my phone, staring at the screen. I hadn't blocked Camilla, not yet. Part of me had held back, waiting, unsure if I was really ready to sever the last thread of connection between us. But her messages were still there, unanswered and growing more desperate with each passing hour. Max, please. Let's talk. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I love you. Don't leave me. Each message was like a jab to the heart. I knew I should delete them, block her number, cut her out completely. But I hadn't yet, and I wasn't sure why. Maybe I was waiting for something. A real apology, a confession that would give me the closure I needed. Or maybe deep down I was hoping she'd say something that would make me turn around and come home. But what could she say? What words could fix this? I opened the message thread again, scrolling through her pleas. The anger that had burned so hot earlier was now a cold, hollow ache in my chest. I didn't feel like fighting anymore. I just felt empty. Before I could talk myself out of it, I typed one last message. There's nothing to talk about. It's over. Don't call. Don't text. I'll have my lawyer contact you. I hit send and stared at the screen, waiting. I half expected her to reply immediately, but nothing came. The screen stayed silent, like the final stillness after a storm. I stood up from the bench, slipping the phone back into my pocket. It was done. The final break. There was no going back now. No more what-ifs or second-guessing. I had made my decision, and now I had to live with it. The thought of heading to a hotel crossed my mind, but it felt too impersonal. I didn't want to be alone in some cold, sterile room, staring at the walls all night. I needed somewhere that felt real, where I could think. Without really deciding, I found myself driving. The roads were familiar, though I wasn't paying much attention. My mind wandered as the streetlights flickered past, casting long shadows across the pavement. Eventually, I ended up in front of my brother's house. He lived a few miles away, and his light was still on, despite the late hour. I hadn't planned to come here, but it felt like the only place I could go. I knocked on the door, and after a few moments it opened. My brother Dave stood there in a pair of sweatpants and a hoodie, his expression turning from confusion to concern the second he saw my face. "Max, what the hell's going on?" he asked, stepping aside to let me in. I walked past him into the living room. The warmth of the house immediately made me realize how cold I had been outside. Dave closed the door behind me, and I could feel his eyes on my back, waiting for me to explain. "I left her," I said quietly, my voice sounding foreign to my own ears. Dave didn't say anything for a moment, just nodded slowly. I had a feeling something was up. "You look like hell, man." I sat down on the couch, the exhaustion finally catching up to me. I ran a hand through my hair, not even sure where to start. She was cheating. I found out the day I left. I'm done. Dave sat down across from me, his face hardening. "Jesus, Max, I'm sorry." I shrugged, though the weight of it was crushing me. "Yeah, well, it is what it is. I don't know what to do now." Dave leaned forward, his elbows resting on his knees. "You did the right thing leaving. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but it's better this way. You can't be with someone who does that to you." I nodded, though the words didn't bring much comfort. "I know, I didn't think it would end like this." "No one ever does," Dave said quietly, "but you're strong. You'll get through this." I wasn't sure if he was right. I didn't feel strong. I felt shattered, broken in ways I hadn't even realized were possible. "You can stay here tonight," Dave said, standing up. "Crash on the couch. We'll figure everything out tomorrow." "Thanks," I muttered, grateful for the offer. I hadn't wanted to ask, but the thought of staying in his warm house was better than wandering the streets or checking into some cheap motel. He patted me on the back and headed upstairs, leaving me alone in the living room. I sat there for a while, staring at nothing, my mind still spinning with everything that happened. The emptiness in my chest felt unbearable, like a piece of me had been ripped out and there was nothing left to fill the void. I pulled out my phone one last time. No new messages from Camilla. Maybe she had finally realized it was over. Maybe she was crying, heartbroken, realizing what she had lost. Or maybe she was with him, with the man who had stolen her from me. The thought made my stomach twist, but I pushed it away. It didn't matter anymore. I had made my choice. I set the phone down and closed my eyes, leaning back against the couch. The quiet of the house settled over me, and for the first time that night, I felt a sliver of peace. It wasn't much, but it was a start.